Have you ever seen a Mario Kart tier list that said Grumble Volcano looks better than Bowser Castle 3?
I was having such a good time.
Or that Sherbet Land deserves a mid-B tier slot?
Mid-B for Sherbet Land?
Or that Toad's Factory was anything other than the best thing since sliced bread?
Why is it only in mid-A, Biff?
We all know that when we watch a tier list video, we want the video man to agree with us 100% of the time. And that's exactly what I was expecting when I watched Biff Wee's Mario Kart Wii tier list.
Is the W in his name intentional and real? Or is it fake and fraudulent? Let's find out in the best way possible by reviewing his list ourselves. So we have got every Mario Kart Wii track ranked by Biff Weed, and you guys already know what to do. Hey, let's get started. If Toad's Factory isn't going to be an S, I'm gonna, you know what, I'm gonna have a word with him. I'm gonna have a word with you personally, Biff, if Toad's Factory isn't in a good tier. But let's get started, shall we? Let me try that again, but without the voice track. Let's get started, shall we?
Mario Kart is a series that took up a lot of my childhood. Maybe I'll talk about the other two at some point in the future, but I mean, it's not like I need to do a video on DS. Everyone already knows that Waluigi Pinball's the best track in that game. So
oh, hang on, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna give it a second. I think someone mentioned in my Shifrilus tier list reaction comment section, the moment Shifrilus mentioned Waluigi Pinball, 100 sleeper cells were just activated in the chat calling it mids. So I'm waiting for you. You guys gonna get out of your system real quick? Waluigi Pinball mid. Go on, I'm ignoring you all.
it's one of the 5 or 6 games I sunk the most time into on the Wii player.
Hang on.
One of the 5 or 6 games.
Brawl Galaxy Resort Wii Party. I'm noticing a distinct lack of WarioWare smooth moves, Biffy. Whenever you want to 1v1 me on that, I'm your guy.
This nowadays. This one's exploitations and competitive scene
Look at that shit, bro.
Except this one is way more reliant on the modding community.
That's insane, bruv.
Everyone already seems to have Flame Runner Funky Kong figured out anyway. In fact, I'm so inept.
Oh, did you guys, by the way, I just recently figured out, when people say Flame Runner and Bowser Bike, they mean the same thing. Did you guys know this? I didn't know this until recently. So I hope I've taught someone else so I don't feel a bit silly.
In that regard, that I didn't know the Flame Runner and the Bowser Bike were different names.
Oh, he says the same thing! Oh my god, he said it too!
Same vehicle.
Same here!
Last year that I had it unlocked.
Oh my god! Oh man, Biff. We're homies already. Let's go!
Early game courses being easy is not something that bothers me, and I'm not exactly going to rag on the newly created circuit tracks for being very simple and basic, because it's a Mario Kart staple that exists as a way to ease new players into how the game works.
So far, Biff is meeting all my standards. I really like him. I'm a big fan.
But if Nintendo's going to go out of their way to pull more basic and simple circuit tracks for the retro selection, when there are other far more interesting alternatives they could have gone with, yeah, that's going to knock those ones down a few spots.
Fair.
Especially if they happen to be, and this is speaking purely hypothetically, thrown into the Lightning Cup, which is supposed to be the big finale for the Retro Cups.
Well, I get something tells me he's not a fan of Mario Circuit 3. Something tells me.
Mario Galaxy boss ranking. I don't really need an E or F tier, because there aren't any tracks in this game that I find insultingly bad or anything.
What did I put in F tier? I was going to say, what did I put in F tier? But I think I put Warriors Gold Mine. I'm going to admit, undeservedly so. I will re-rank Wii, don't worry.
No,
Grumble, Gold Mine,
Coconut
and
Mall's pretty beloved, and I'm not going to be making
he's faking us out. He's faking us out.
any friends by putting
He's
it in last place.
He's faking.
So it's good for me that this is an obvious fake out and I'm not actually going to do that.
All right.
Instead, we have DS.
Imagine a reality where somebody put Coconut Mall in the 32nd out of 32 tracks. That would be pretty funny, but it's not this list, thankfully. Instead, it's a more reasonable one.
Desert Hills. I don't like sand levels usually, especially not desert levels.
No one
does.
does.
This one is not an exception.
Trust me. I just think it's so bland and boring. Is it because like Mario Kart hasn't done them well? Are they like, because I know some of you guys are like Crash Team Racing Andes. Does Crash Team Racing do desert levels better? I would love to know. Because in Mario Kart, there hasn't been a single one that's really blown me out of the water. Like Bone Dry Dunes looks cool. I would say looks the coolest. But even then, that's kind of just, you know, and like Dry Ruins is probably the most fun, like gameplay wise. But even then, it just kind of, you know, like, will there ever be a good desert course? We'll just have... Shaggy is good, but it doesn't, like, it's not mind-blowing, I would say. I think I put it in A myself. So it's good, but I'm thinking, like, S. Oh, is there ever going to be, like, an S-tier desert course? Mark Warriors managed to do it for ice, but not so much for desert. Cheeseland is not a desert course. It's made out of cheese. It's made out of cheese. I will have no one convince me otherwise. It's made out of cheese. It is delicious and very much eatable, all right? The only part that isn't edible is the part we race on, because that would just be horrific. And that still hasn't stopped people from taking chomps out of it in the 8 Deluxe version.
I feel like I'm always forgetting that N64 Mario Raceway is even in this game.
Don't fuck with us Mario Kart Wii fans. We'll race on 7 circuits, and we'll still call it the best game in the series. Like, I love Mario Kart Wii, but Jesus Christ.
SNES Mario.
And here's another one.
This feels very out of place in the Lightning Cup, which is a shame because otherwise that would have all of my favorite retro tracks in it. GBA Shy Guy Beach.
Oh no! Another Shy Guy Beach hater. Oh no! I'm just on the wrong side of history, aren't I? I think I just have to accept the fact. It's a bit like with Warriors Gold, man. I just have to accept I'm on the wrong side of history. I can't even be angry anymore. Disappointed that my take isn't the correct one. Okay, maybe if they scaled it down like 20%, it'd be perfect. Come on, it's not I'm huffing copium right now, man. I'm huffing.
Irritating substance. Cannonballs and crabs make for neat hazards.
They do!
This one chain of mini islands you can hop between with the manual
That's
drift.
neat!
The rest of it isn't anything all that interesting. I think if you asked me to list all the tracks in this game, GameCube Mario Circuit would be the last one I'd think of. Even more than Mario
I'm mad at you,
Raceway,
Biff, now. I'm mad! I'm mad! Less of a hater, more I feel nothing towards it. You can't sit on the fence. You either love a track or you hate it, alright? So, your indifference I'm classifying as hate, Biff. God damn it! But in a game with like 8 circuit tracks, having just this one is just kind of, you know, I like it. I'm very nostalgic for it, but I can't believe this. Peak Falls! Yoshi Falls for 10 hours. That's my favorite version, honestly.
But it's got some really pretty backgrounds. I love the look of the waterfalls.
I still don't like the fact that this second waterfall is just entirely useless. You know that thing that the first waterfall taught you could do to skip the track? Yeah, we're not gonna let you. We're just not gonna let you. Yoshi Falls is good, come on. You know, considering this game has 10 circuit tracks, I'll give Yoshi's Falls to you, don't worry.
I like that you can take a risk and go through some small waterfalls to get some items. That's about it, yeah. Back in
hang on.
2020, can go through some small waterfalls.
Is this real Biff gameplay? Holy shit, how close to the edge were you there, Biff? Oh my god. This is real Biff gameplay.
That's about it, yeah. Back in 2020,
that's crazy.
I did a tier list that had Dry Ruins and D tier alongside Desert Hills. But upon revisiting this one, yeah, I kind of liked it. I still don't like the visuals at all desert levels suck.
Nah, no one does.
But this one has enough going for it to push it past that. And there are some neat shortcuts that can be done with a mushroom. They do bring back the...
Yo, Biff, this is some hardcore gaming you're doing. Gee, what? How did you do this? What the fuck? I didn't know you could do this. Legit. I'm learning new things every day.
I didn't register that the water was orange because of the sunset. I thought the race took place next to a big lake of orange juice. I want to go back to that ignorant bliss. I don't know.
So do I, honestly.
It's decent. Bowser's Castle 3 is a good track, but it's a little too long for me and kind of overstays its welcome. That's not a problem most other long tracks in the game have, but those ones bring enough to the table to where I feel they justify their length. They're dynamic and varied enough in their visuals and or layout to keep me engaged the whole way through.
Could you do that one more time, Mr. Biff?
Length. They're dynamic and varied enough in their visuals and or layout to keep me engaged the whole way through.
I can imagine this is Biff in the editing room. I can imagine this is Biff, because I imagine he recorded the audio first, then recorded the video, right? So he was like...
They're dynamic and varied enough in their visuals and or layout to keep me engaged the whole way through.
Oh, I know. Oh, good visuals, Grumble Volcano, that's mint. That is mint, mate. I'm posting that.
This one feels like I'm looking at the same shit for the entire race.
Oh, come on, but what? Grumble Volcano doesn't? Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Like, don't get me wrong, I think this rendition of Bowser Castle 3 just kind of somewhat misses the mark for me as well, but... I don't know, man. I don't know.
Game. But come on, we already had 2 Bowser's Castle tracks in this game. And those 2 being as amazing as they are means that this one being only decent gets outshined hard.
I suppose you're right. But then again, come on, we have like 11 circuit tracks. What's 3 Bowser Castles, right? Come on.
Peach Beach is a sand track that's better than decent? Never thought I'd see the day. I'm not usually a beach fan, but this track has a nice chill vibe to it and a cool setting in front of a hotel. With a slightly branching path, constantly changing tide, and
You know, Biff, fuck it. Let's light one up, man. Let's light one up. He likes my childhood Mario Kart.
Seriously, you couldn't at least make this fountain mandatory to go around or something?
That's what I'm saying. I've said that. I've been saying this for years and no one has listened to me. No one has listened to me. For some reason, for some fucking reason, this fountain here, you could go around it for an iron box. Like, but in Mario Kart Wii, why would you go around it? Because there's only a single item. In Double Dash, you got a double at least. That's what I've been saying this for years, and thankfully someone's listened to me. I can't believe this.
Iron. Am I going crazy, or is Luigi Circuit actually kind of good? I get.
You might have hit a bit too much weed there, homie. You might have hit. You gotta lay off the weed, Biff. You gotta lay off the weed. Fast track in the game is supposed to serve a very simple purpose. It's to be at least somewhat interesting and introduce people to the game itself. And while this Luigi Circuit does it, it basically just feels like a boneless version of GameCube's one. And I just can't help but see it in that light. It also, as Lucas has pointed out, though, it does in fact have these striped pattern tiles, as you guys can see. So, do you know what, Biff? You know what, we're homies again. We're homies again, Biff. 17th? Mid-B for Sherbet Land? Gonna have to explain this one to me, Biff.
Little there is to it. I love the cool blue color palette. The music's really nice, and I like how it changes in the cave.
Oh, the music's nice too. It's nice in the way it makes me.
Also, much like Yoshi Falls, I spent way too much time as a kid trying to make it to the island in the middle. This is a
that's
very charming course in its simplicity, and I always have fun going back to it.
I don't know, man. In the same way, me and Biff seems to be aligned in our desert track hatred. When it comes to ice tracks, I guess he's more sympathetic than me. I guess that childhood memory must be doing a lot of the hard carrying there, because Sherbet Land is just. This track's got this got nothing for me, man. This has got absolutely nothing for me. Like, the penguins are like the coolest thing about this, and that's just kind of it, to be honest. Sherbet Land's a remake in 9 with underwater and gliders. That could be quite fun.
It doesn't have quite as much going on, but that's to be expected because it is a retro track after all. This might have my preferred background music. I'm not entirely sure.
Really? This? Well, I mean, I guess if you're comparing it to Wii's Bowser Castle music, it's just the mid-off, really, isn't it? Between this and Atmosphere of it being catchy. I said this exact same thing when I did my 64 tier list. I don't mind a track being atmospheric, but I think for a game like Mario Kart, a fast-paced, party-based, play with your friends kind of game.
Oh my god.
Oh, the car so broken.
I think it also should be catchy along with being atmospheric. And my go-to case in point for that would be GameCube's Bowser Castle. I think that also does a good job of sounding ominous while sounding very catchy. I think this one does one very well, not the other though.
With loads of thwomps in the hall to pose as obstacles. One of them is in jail for some reason, which spawned that fake creepy anti-piracy screen. This is seriously.
Bro, do you guys remember the anti-piracy arc the internet went on? Oh, some of them went a bit too much into creepypasta territory, but some of them were so good. Oh my god, I remember that.
So I don't know if saying DS Peach Gardens is my favorite retro track in the game is a hot take, but oh well. I love this track.
You love Peach Garden, guys. You love Peach Gardens. We all love Peach Gardens.
This track does a lot with its concept, I think. And also it has for sure the best use of chain chomps in the game thanks to the reward factory.
Actually true.
Toad's Factory is probably the track I've heard praised the most outside of Coconut Mall. At least out of the...
So why is it only 10th, Biff? Why is it only in mid-A, Biff? Why is it on S tier? Biff! My top one. My absolute top one. Even better than Wii Rainbow Road. I don't care who L's me for that.
It can end the
fucking
race off on a
peak.
very high note.
So good!
From what I've seen, Grumble Volcano...
I was having such a good time, Biff. I was having such a good time. You did this on purpose. In the same way, Shifrilla's purposely referenced Metroid Prime Federation Force, shit on Super Circuit, and put Neo Bowser City low just to fuck with me and only me specifically. You did the high of Toad's Factory, on which I said, you know what, Musty, do you know what would be really, really fucking funny? Do you know what would be really funny? That would be funny.
Volcano is a contender for the...
Grumble Volcano, that's mint. I'm posting that. That's mint. That's mint, mate. I'm posting that.
From what I've seen, Grumble Volcano is a contender for the most divisive track in all of Mario Kart Wii. It's arguably one of the hardest courses in the game, which leads to it being super tilting sometimes.
And then on top of that, he implies that it's a skill issue right off the rip. Biff, what are you doing to me? Man, people seem to hate this track because maybe they're just not like good. Maybe they're just not like good guys. Oh my lord, Biff.
In the game until
I'm surprised he missed that banana.
The year after. I get why people wouldn't like.
But and then he's in the school movie anyway. Oh, Biff, my man, you were doing so well. I can't believe this. Grumble Volcano is the best track in But you could join the Biff side over there, man. You could join the Biff side, man. Fuck!
Like Moonview Highway. The cars can be very overwhelming.
Yes!
But me personally, I love it. It does what I like most about Wario's Gold Mine, then does it better by having cars coming from both directions, while also covering the whole track rather than one small segment. I only ever take issue with it when a car blindsides me around a corner. Other than that, this
Yeah, yes! This is why I love watching Mario Kart tier list. Because something that for Biff is just like, oh yeah, sometimes a car just blindsides you. Oh yeah, that just happens. For me, that's like the #1 reason I absolutely cannot stand the Wii rendition of this track. There's so many cars that using the oncoming lane is basically a death wish. And I get it, like he said, well, it doesn't happen enough for me to be bothered by it. Fair enough, but I think the fact that there's just so many, I cannot see me playing this again to re-tier this game and going, do you know what, I actually like it. I can't see that happening. Unless I like play it back a bunch and I notice the cars aren't as overwhelming as I thought, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
This track has a great gimmick and plenty.
We'll just chalk it up to a difference of
segments.
experience, I suppose. Musty, when he has to drive on the road, there are cars. Guys, I don't have my driver's license for a reason, alright? Come on.
Tons of Easter eggs in the alley. In an ideal world, this would have been where the course started, and then the hectic traffic would close off each lap. But
I thought
still,
so too,
this is
yeah.
a
So guys, were you guys left path or right path? Because like this guy's taking the left path. I never used to take the left path as a kid. It'd always be the right. It'd always be the right. I don't know which one's faster, but it would always be right path. Were you a righty or a lefty?
Koopa Cape is another one that's been at the top of my list since I was very young.
Fucking
I always thought the
Koopa
opening
Cape.
bit with the ramps
Biff
and the
Weed.
was a lot of fun.
Back
Plus, the
at it
Koopa shell
again.
has a
Let's
cute little
go.
That section gives me life, and the surprise of seeing it for the first time blew my mind.
The electric
I love
section.
underwater tunnels
The
like this, and I
electric
honestly wish this
section.
would have taken up like 90% of the track.
Same.
But as it is, it's still very
Yes.
enjoyable to zip through this at high speeds thanks to the water current, all while trying to dodge the elect. It's nice to listen to as well.
Oh, I'm actually very curious, Biff. Does Biff answer? Throughout my entirety of watching Maple Treeway, I've never had an opinion on rope bridge versus no rope bridge, because personally, I just don't give a shit. So whatever Biff's opinion is, I'm going to take that as my opinion and absorb it as my own.
Top to stand in your way, piles of leaves that can have items,
Yep.
and this. I think this is meant to be a net, but who cares? It's fun to do tricks on.
Great. You know what? So we still don't care, gamers. We still don't care. Biff gave us the correct take.
It's like this track is made for me. And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Leave
I did
your own
enjoy
favorite
it.
tracks in the comments.
Except that bit where you faked me out about Toad Factory and Grumble Forget. You did that. He did that on purpose. I'm convinced. I'm convinced that he did. He did that on purpose. Is that Mr. Biff
Yep.
Weed himself? Hello, hello.
It is indeed. Hello, hello.
How are you doing, my man?
I had a lot of fun watching you watch my video. It was very nice.
I'm glad you had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them though. There's a couple of them, Biff, that were highly disagreeable. I have since recanted my ways and will admit that Moonview Highway in the BCP is an absolute phenomenal version. And I think it's the ideal version of Moonview Highway. One of the things I hated most of it was just the oncoming traffic lane is just too congested. But for you, you said it wasn't really much of a bother for you?
It's not much of a bother for me because there's enough room for me to weave about it, and also I can just stay in the other lane and go behind the traffic that's moving forward. So, like, there is, I guess, counterplay to it. There's alternate routes you can take. Like, you can go over some of the traffic by taking that secret hill near the start. Only turn I can see potentially getting on my nerves at any point is, like, there's one that's like a full 90-degree turn where a car could blindside you. But at that point, if you're taking a complete blind turn when you know that there's the risk of oncoming traffic, I feel like any punishment from that might be deserved.
I am a bit of a gambling man, so maybe it's my fault that I just keep gambling and I keep losing. But it's like
The
they say.
gamble was exciting.
That's what I mean. It's just too exciting. 90% of gamblers quit before their big high. So, like, that's just how I live life as a whole. So.
Like, just go for one more. You'll probably get it the next time.
Maybe I just kept doing that too much as a kid. I just kept losing. I owe the house like $70,000 and the rights to my firstborn child because of the amount of times I took that oncoming turn. Even more so, having like a version of it that I think lowers the congestion, I think just makes this one seem even worse for me, honestly.
That's totally fair.
Yeah, I think that's. I don't think we're going to disagree too much on that one because I think your take was fair on it. But Grumble Volcano, you even said it's a hit or miss track. A lot of people love it. A lot of people, and you did that. You did that on purpose just to piss me off, right, Biff?
Oh, absolutely.
Right after Toad's Factory, you did it. I think the gimmick is actually really interesting. The fact that the stage gets harder as the laps progress. I think that is an interesting concept. I just think Grumble Volcano was not the right track for it.
I just think like the lava aesthetic outside of Bowser's Castle for once is really cool. I really like the gimmick of the track crumbling. I love going inside the volcano, and like just there's so many branching paths. I like the moving platform. If it's any consolation, Other than Warriors Goldmine, Grumble was probably the one I had the hardest time ranking. I think like Toad's Factory and Grumble Volcano was the one I went back and forth on
what
the
made
most.
You, what made you what made it hard for you? What would you say? What was it?
I just struggling to lock down a solid opinion.
Well, I think in real time you've managed to convince Creeper Chumsworth Grumble was high beta at worst.
I think that's where Schaefer Ellis put it. I was happy to see him on the right side of history with the Grumble Volcano.
You're just stealing my lingo as well. I can't believe it.
There's not really anything about Grumble that I actively dislike, I guess, even if it doesn't quite hit like the highs of the S tier tracks.
Imagine if Moonview fell apart. Moving swiftly on. Don't want to think about that. This is probably going to be the one that like I find the most disagreeable. I'll say the best for last.
Sherbet Land?
Sherbet Land.
Well, I'm going to be honest, in a completely unbiased tier list, no, the fuck, it does not belong in high B tier. There's like nothing to it.
Was it just like childhood memory brain of you trying to go into the middle island? Because
like, that's part of it.
That's totally based if that's the case. Because like those weird childhood memories are what I live for in like seeing other people's rankings. I love that sort of thing. So go on.
Ice and snow tends to be like an aesthetic I really like a lot. Like winter's one of my favorite seasons, and I just think Sherbet Land being a big iceberg, I think it's cool. It might have something to do with Club Penguin iceberg nostalgia. It might have something to do with it.
Oh, was that like your online social sim of choice when you were younger?
I was that, and Bin Weevils. You remember Bin Weevils?
Oh, I remember Bin Weevils. For me, it was, I don't know if you remember Habbo Hotel. That was like my main one. I was like,
I've heard of that.
You didn't heard of Habbo Hotel, bro? I watched one video essay a couple months back about how Habbo Hotel turned teenagers into greedy capitalists. If like, that video sums up absolutely perfectly.
Is it 3 hours long? It better be 3 hours long.
I don't remember, but I hope it is just for your sake, because it is. Then I don't know if you have fond memories of Club Penguin, but the absolute ruthlessness of the Habbo Hotel community was not to be mistaken. I'm telling you for that, for sure. Anyway, it's just nostalgia and vibes when it comes to Sherbet Land, is it?
Part of that. Like I love the visuals. Like I say, like the cool blue color palette really works for me, and the music. I really like the penguins in the cave. Like, I think the penguins are a fun hazard. Like I think that it's a Banana Cup track, so it's still relatively early in the game. So I'm like more forgiving of the simplicity. I love jumping over the cracks in the ice. Like hop over those with manual drift can be really fun. I think I forgot to bring that up in the video. The cave is just really cool. It's one of those cases of like the music dynamically changes, like in the Koopa Cape Pipe or the city section of Moonview Highway, my beloved. Sorry, Moonview Highway, our beloved.
The 8 Deluxe. He means the 8 Deluxe version. But was there something else you wanted to leave us with?
I think you closed out the video before you played like the last 3 seconds. I'll leave you with that.
Okay, let's watch the last 3 seconds then. All right, have a good one, Biff. I'll see you later. Let's do that now to finish this off, shall we?
Leave your own favourite tracks in the comments. Unless your favourite's Desert Hills, in which case you can keep that to yourself.
True and real. I would say your tier list is great, fantastic, and amazing. You're more based than you are cringe, I will say. The Grumble take notwithstanding, definitely on the base side, that's for sure. Let's smoke weed one more time, gamers.
But that was certainly fun, wasn't it? Almost as fun as the time I reacted to Fearless's Mario Kart 7 tier list. Wow. It's crazy how that happened, isn't it? Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like before you go. Subscribe if you're new around here. And I'll see you all in the next one. There's your lot.